This time around, it's our. Is this working? This time around, it's our community policing one, the happy one. So I'm pleased to be on second with this one. Some of the things we're going to talk about, I'm going to try to keep it brief. I know we have a big agenda. Of course, the overdoses and what we're doing about it. Our camera project that a lot of you are aware of. Our community programs we're doing with the children, and a few other good things. Here's our overdose data through November. As you can see, November it came down a bit, but the numbers are still staggering. I added those all up the other day. It was a 300 and something non-fatal, and I think it was 75 fatal overdoses this year just in our 7 square miles. We're on target to hit probably 90 fatal and 350 non-fatal. That's a lot of overdoses in 7 square miles. What are we doing about it? We're doing several different things. We're hitting from different angles. This is something new that's coming out. The Sheriff's Office assigned Dr. Selena Lamont to us. She's a licensed mental health counselor, and she has some other letters behind her names. She's working right out of District 14 in a pilot program to try to reverse this, called our Lake Worth Opioid Initiative. She's on the heroin task force, as am I. Commissioner Amoroso's on it. He's also on the sober home task force, which we'll touch on. But we're going to try a pilot program in Lake Worth where she's going to try to respond to a lot of our overdoses, and when she's not working, we will handle her portion for her. If they decline services, we're going to March Act them and try that route. But more, we're hoping that they're going to agree to services, in which case DAF down in Delray has guaranteed us 6 to 8 beds at any given time, and we'll put them down there, and it gets more scientific from there, but they're going to try a Suboxone drug protocol, kind of like what we used to use to get people off of heroin. The methadone, this is a different drug that supposedly takes away that desire to use, and that would be the voluntary end of the program. So we're going to try it in Lake Worth, which I'm really excited about, hopefully take a positive step towards getting them off of the drugs. In addition to that, we've got the Sober Home Task Force. Everyone in here, I'm sure, has heard about sober homes at one point in time. We have an estimated anywhere from 250 to 300 sober homes in 7 square miles. We've met with probably 3 or 4 providers that are legitimate recovery homes and at different times, and they've all gave the same number, that they estimate 85% of their compadres are unscrupulous. So that's a lot of unscrupulous sober homes. We know we need the good ones for the people that do need to get off of drugs and get into recovery, but that's a lot of unscrupulous ones that are in it for the money. State attorney's done great. I think this is the first in the nation. He created the Sober Homes Task Force. We actually have a District 14 deputy on it. They're making great cases. We've made a few already in Lake Worth. The deputy we have on it is only working Lake Worth cases. There's deputies from other areas and other law enforcement that are working Delray and places like that. But there's a lot more to come. So hopefully that'll help clean up the unscrupulous ones. Next. We just did Street Sweeper 3. We focused mainly on street-level narcotics and prostitution sales on the main thoroughfares, a lot on Dixie Highway, Federal Highway, and Lake Avenue. It culminated in about 50 arrests for 70 charges. We did 4 search warrants that were all heroin-related, and you can see the locations up below. 900 South G Street's been particularly active for us, but hopefully this makes a dent and you see a little less of the street level and narcotics and prostitution activity. The camera projects. I'm pleased to say we have 2 camera projects underway. One's been in the news a lot lately. That's one that's grassroots, started in District 14. The other one's the one I've been talking about for a year and a half, where we're following after the Glades, where we're going to have 10 high-def tilt-pan zoom monitored cameras in 10 hotspots, and they're monitored by the deputies who are on alternate duty. The ones, they have a broken arm or whatever other ailment, they're watching them from a remote location. They've had great success in Belglade. They've caught homicides on camera and made arrests based on those cameras. So we're the next district to get them. We're going to have 10 to start, and we're going to try to add 10 next year and 10 the year after. It's been hung up in our legal for quite a while with the LETF funds. We're just going to pay with our federal LETF, the whole $50,000 this year. There was an issue with using the state LETF from the city, so we're going to use that for something else. But it finally got through legal, and they're building the cameras as we speak. The other camera program was a grassroots idea, as I said, from Detective Donovan up in property crime. We took him from uniform and put him up there, and a new set of eyes. He realized he was spending half his day tracking down things like camera footage. And when he's pulling it, he's saying that, hey, if the deputies on the street had this in real time, they may have been able to make an arrest right then, and here he is having to follow up days later. So the idea is, and it's still in the beginning stages, but we're going to go initially to all the businesses that have cameras that want to, that voluntarily would like to give us IP addresses, and we've got IT building software that's like a map of the city, like a Google map, and the ideal is if your business has it and you volunteered in the program, when we hover over your address, it'll pop up that you have a camera. And if there's a crime nearby, we can click on it and look at the footage. It sounds great. We've had a couple meetings with all the IT type people. It is very complicated. We're trying to mirror like New York City did on a much, much smaller scale, but I'm being told New York City spent $150 million to have the software that reads all the different cameras. So it's in its infancy, and we're doing our best. If nothing else, I'd like to be able to hover and see that you have an IP camera that we can go and meet with you at. At minimum, ideally we'll be able to click on it and the deputy will be able to watch it. So we're getting there. We had a temporary camera installed in one of our hot areas, and we caught 2 homicides on video with just that temporary camera. So this is the future. Hopefully keep it going. These are our 2 programs we do every year. The Breaking the Cycle of Gangs that we do with Legoland, and then we do the anti-bullying program that's one of its kind in the area. The difference this year is traditionally we did the anti-gang one at South Grade, and we did the anti-bullying at North Grade with 20 students each. This year we're doing both programs at both schools, so we essentially doubled both. So we've got 40 kids in each program, so that's going to be great. Legoland was on board. They helped us out with the other 20. And some of the deputies that do this every week, and definitely the teachers and the guidance counselors, they follow up with these kids long after they leave elementary school and they go to Montana or Lakewood Middle. And these are hand chosen by the school staff. These are the most at-risk kids in both schools. And all of them, every year, we usually have all but one will make it. For whatever reason, there'll be that one that doesn't make it. This year, they're all doing well. But they follow up years later, and they go from D and F students to magnet programs. So it really shows that 12 weeks with good role models can actually turn kids around. And not only these kids, but we try to pick the ones that are used as negative role models by the other students, and they actually are able to turn around some of the other kids because they see that this informal leader go from one extreme to the other. So we hope to save more than just those 40. The charity golf scramble is how we fund all of our stuff. Thank you for everybody in the room that did help. There's a lot of people in the room that helped out with this. This was our best year to date. We made almost double our money from years past, so we were very happy about that. This funds 99% of our programs. This is one of them. We just went to Walmart and bought $10,500 worth of toys. It went up. We're going to be able to give out about 400 toys to about 90 families next Saturday. And again, these families are hand chosen from the 4 elementary schools and based on need. The Thanksgiving turkey giveaway we do every year. We were able to provide 45 families with turkey dinners for Thanksgiving. And again, they're hand chosen by the school staffs at the elementary schools. The alcohol ordinance update, a couple of you have asked me about it. Again, I would like at least a year to get the accurate data, and even then it's going to be difficult. because the crime doesn't necessarily happen right at the locations of the convenience stores, as you know, but in the area. But overall, I'm hoping to see lower numbers in things like robberies and batteries and things like that, especially late at night after the opens. But so far, the guys on the street and the lieutenant and I, from reading the data every day, we're seeing that it is working. It's having some effect. There's a lot of other variables that can factor in there, but everyone is under the same impression that it is having effect. And the biggest thing I took from it, after watching all the businessmen come in and stand at the podium, not one convenience store closed. They all were fearful that they were going to lose their business and whatnot. None have closed, and in fact, there's a couple national chains open. So that's what we were hoping for. We didn't want to put people out of business. We were hoping that their customers would adapt and improve their buying practices. The entertainment district, I'm thankful that you all voted to fund the extra deputies. We used 3 of them for the entertainment district and coupled them with the previous downtown deputy. I know we're seeing a big difference. We walk the downtown and Bryant Park and whatnot at least a few times a week, and we see a lot less criminal activity. It's definitely working. This was something I'm really proud of because it had almost immediate effects. And the other 2 that your funding went to nights, and that's having an effect as well. The more deputies we have out there, the more time they have to do proactive things instead of going call to call to call. So I hope you see the difference at Bryant Park, the beach, and the downtown, because we do. And questions?
Thank you very much.
Thank you for the presentation. Just a quick question on the camera program. You said that businesses and eventually residents could voluntarily give you access to the cameras. How do you decide who gets the cameras and how many are you starting with?
Initially, we're focusing on the downtown businesses. That's kind of where the idea came from. And then from there, we'll go. It's going to depend a lot on how the IT guys, how quickly they can build it. It actually affects. We have our computer guys involved, and then our camera guys, and they're different guys, and they start talking all their tech stuff, and they lose me. But they all said it's doable. It's just complex, and we should be able to get it rolling. But we don't want to get too many going until we can put a product out there. It got to the media. We didn't know about that or do that, which is great, but we weren't quite ready to roll it out yet. So we're getting a lot of phone calls from the news and now other citizens and businesses, and we're not there yet. We're in the building stages. But initially, we started with the downtown, and we're going to stick with the other businesses, and then we'll eventually hopefully really get to where if you have your private residence and you like it, we don't want inside. We want the street or not. A lot of people with a private residence have their their interior, their house. That's a little different. We're focusing on the ones that are going to catch a car, a getaway car, a tag, a description. We've already made one case so far downtown where they stole a tip jar on camera. So that's what we're going for, and again, strictly law.
So would it be the case, just for example, that you were investigating a case, so you would reach out to either the business owner or the resident and say, hey, you have this camera there, can we access the information?
Sure. If it goes the way the IT guys think they can build this map type of thing, we might be able to click on it right then and there. They're going to try to make it work. We probably won't be able to rewind and things like that or pull the tape, but at least it'll give us the ability to see a tag. The way things work now, we'll have a robbery in front of a convenience store, and we'll go, hey, there's a camera there, there's a camera there. I wonder if it caught anything, and sometimes depending on the severity, we'll call the owner out, and 9 times out of 10, they don't know how to use it, and we don't get the info until 3 days later, which would have been great to have that tag or that description in 3 minutes. So it's all in its infancy, but I'm hoping it's going to end up being a good program. The other 10 that we're starting this year, that I know will work because we've already done it in the blades. That one's going to be very good. Those will be monitored by deputies 24/7. This other program will not be. It will be something where they can look. Hey, I just had a crime at Lake and K, and they can look. Oh, there's a camera on the northwest corner. Let me see. It won't be live monitored like you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Emerson?
And I just wanted to clarify, and thank you for the program. We're looking for anyone that has cameras in and around their homes or business to sign up. And like the captain had said, you give the IP address, they have full access to your camera. They don't have to bother you if there's a crime in the area, they just know that there's a camera. The camera he was referring to is actually on my building. PBSO doesn't buy anything for you, you have to buy your own cameras. I have them, the Lucerne has them, the Cultural Council has them. So by giving them the IP, they can look at it, and what he was referring to was actually the tip jar for our juice bar. And it was very clear that the young lady that works in my juice bar was devastated that her chips were stolen. But it was very clear, we had cameras both ways. You could see the person walk up, grab it, you could clearly see them, and that helped the captain, make the arrest. They were younger people, so we chose not to, pursue, they came in and said they were sorry to the young lady and they're gonna pay her back her tips, but, it was something that was quick, and that's really what it's about.
I just want to emphasize, we really want to focus on the commercial. Typically, they have the high-tech cameras. We can't recommend a camera system. All we can recommend is quality. Definitely he's got it. If you can watch it from your iPhone remote on an IP and it's HD color, that's what we're talking about. I can't recommend one brand over another because we're not supposed to, and I have no idea. But ideally, we want the commercial ones. We don't want to see inside your house. We want to see, if you live in a residence on a main thoroughfare that catches the cars going by, then you would probably want to participate as a private residence. But initially, at least, we definitely want to focus on the businesses that all have them anyway.
And I think the message I want to send as a downtown merchant is, don't come to Lake Worth. We've got cameras, we're gonna see you if you're going to do something bad, go somewhere else, don't come to Lake Worth. And I think if that's the message, it's really not about the crime, because we don't have a lot of crime, we have crimes of opportunity. But if we send that message that says, if you come in our downtown, if you come in our neighborhoods, we're gonna see you doing, and you're gonna get caught. And that's really the message I'd like to send is, don't do it. Don't do it in Lake Worth, because we're watching.
As a private resident, if it was me, I would get a really good camera system for the inside and the outside of my house. You could be a participant in our program, but the main thing is to have it, if it's for you. If, God forbid, your house got broken into and it's on video, then we'll be able to hopefully see the suspect or maybe the cars in your driveway, things like that. If I was in a private residence, unless I was on a main thoroughfare, I probably would save this program for the business.
I would just emphasize, if you're going to get a quality camera system, make sure you understand how to use the camera system.
Almost, I would say 1 out of 10 knows how to actually pull up and go backwards and cut it to a disc and whatnot.
Very important.
Very few people know how to do it. Usually have to call tech support.
Commissioner McBoyd?
Yeah, thank you, Captain Bear. A lot of helpful information there. Particularly thank you for the breaking the cycle effort. I'm glad that you've doubled up both the bullying. I've gone to that. I'd like to go to the Legoland one. I think it's great that you're doing it at both places. And thank you to the folks from the golfing that helped fund it. On the opioid initiative one, I'm glad that we're sort of, if I understand right, we're moving kind of a two-prong approach. Partly we're keeping a vigilant eye on the less scrupulous sober homes, but we're also, from what I understand, trying to up our effort in cooperation with mental health and other services on the folks that have addictions, which need the help. So I'm glad on that. On the not so scrupulous sober home side of it, how are we doing on are trying to keep track of rental licenses and business licenses for all rental licenses around the city? Are we on target on that?
Yes, sir. We're probably about a month and a half, 2 months into the process, and we're more than halfway through the suspected properties that don't have a license, that we're going out and physically identifying where they belong.
Because that's certainly something that and I think everybody has to understand that we're looking to up our game as a city in terms of rental licenses for anybody that rents, but including, if you're involved in sober home things, that's part of that sphere of folks. And I get questions all the time from residents that say, well, wait a minute, aren't these things licensed at all? And we're, yeah, I'm seeing negatives from both the city manager and Captain Bear, and we're trying to move at least the first step of that. It seems only reasonable that we insist that they be licensed. It isn't gonna solve all the problems, but it's a portion of it. So I appreciate that we're moving.
Thank you very much, Kevin, appreciate it.
Thank you.